That brings back memories from me of like, let's decorate the tree together as a family. Let's have a lovely time. Let's pick the things out. And when I came back in, I found the boys throwing the Christmas decorations over their shoulders and seeing if they could land on the tree. To say the least, I was not impressed.
Because you and I are both grandmothers, life has got pretty busy at Christmas time. How do we be present and enjoy it as much as the kids on Christmas Day when perhaps we might be conducting an orchestra?
So that's one of the reasons why I am doing these recipes today. I thought, right, I'm going to do as much preparation so that I'm not spending the whole day in the kitchen. So I'm going to do 2 desserts, a chocolate mousse and a strawberry mousse. There's only 3 ingredients in this recipe.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Like back in the day, my mum was always in the kitchen all day, and I kind of thought as our family grew, I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to be part of the family, To me, it was important to be with my kids and my grandkids on the day. And initially, I would try to do this preparation beforehand. But now that our family's got bigger, everybody contributes.
Right.
So ahead of time, we plan out what we're going to have and then divvy it out to all the families. And it's really good. It works really well. It makes Christmas Day a lot more enjoyable.
Another little bit.
What about you, Cathy?
Every Christmas seems to be a bit different. So we've had really simple Christmases, KFC on the beach. That was a really good simple Christmas.
It's very simple, gosh.
Yeah, so we used to come to my mum's and then you get married and then your own family and the family grows and things change, don't they?
They do change, they really do change. I think the dynamics are continually changing. Like you've got the little kids in the year that they're just happy with the paper, they don't care about the present. And then as they get a bit older, the dynamic changes again. And then your children maybe not around, overseas or whatever, and Christmas Day takes on a completely different, looks different. And then now with the grandchildren, it's like you're doing the full turn again. It's back to the wrapping paper and the fun and the excitement for Christmas Day.
But what helps you kind of cope with different ways that Christmas Day can look?
I think for me, Christmas Day's about the people, So it's about the family relationships and incorporating extended family and then incorporating spouses and in-laws and so I think for me a happy Christmas Day is a Christmas Day where everybody's there's a lovely atmosphere, people are enjoying themselves and the food's good, but you can have good food in an unhappy atmosphere. So for me it's always about
so how
the
do
relationship.
You do it? How do you, with all the different family dynamics, how do you create that?
I think when it's in your own home, it's easier to set the tone, but maybe when you're having Christmas in a different home, you can't have that same kind of influence, but how do you do it, Cathy?
Well, I don't know. I think, each Christmas is an adventure in a way. And like you, it's actually, for me, about people, about family. I just love it. And I love watching people enjoying themselves, however that shapes. I think just appreciating the presence of a person or people, and if you've been invited to a place, that is a gift that's been given to me. And
in saying that, I think too that Christmas isn't necessarily a happy day for everybody. I think it can be a very challenging day, and I think that's part of the evolving nature of family, for a lot of people, and maybe for some people watching today, that there's going to be someone missing this Christmas, a loss of a loved one or a grandparent, or and that it's kind of bittersweet, isn't it, that to realise that it's not just about this commercial sort of day that's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I think as Christians as well, we realise that it's not just about us necessarily, there are people who really take it, it's a difficult day.
Because we've both lost our parents, and most families there'll be someone not there that you would have loved there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Like for you, how were those first Christmases without your parents around?
Yeah, there's just a deep sense of sadness, It doesn't ruin the whole day, but it's sobering, because you think it was the end of an era, that, Mum's always been here, Mum was always the one that did this stuff, and now it's me. We've moved up.
You're the matriarch now.
We've moved up the pyramid.
Do you feel the responsibility of being a matriarch?
I think, and you focus on the good memories and the happy times that we had growing up, and I think sometimes a good way to remember them is by doing some of their recipes, and carrying those recipes on.
I was going to say, because I find that too, there's that kind of continuity and connection, and although Mum or Dad might not be around anymore, but by doing some of the traditions I have around Christmas, it kind of it keeps me connected to the bigger picture, the longer story.
Yes. I think that's what you realise the older you get, don't you? That we are part of a story. Because, they couldn't call it the sandwich generation sometimes, don't they? Like you've got your own parents, you've got yourselves, and then you've got your children, and then your grandchildren.
Yeah.
I think they call it the club sandwich when it's four generations.
Oh, that's a new one for me.
Gonna put some strawberry jelly crystals in here.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah.
I know you've worked for a few years at the Salvation Army with people that they were on their own at Christmas. What did you do? How was that?
So a big part of that role, because I was mostly working with seniors, a big part of that role at Christmas time was we'd make a real fuss. So we'd make up little hampers and I'd actually wrap a gift, and I had a list of people that I was in regular contact with, and these people I knew wouldn't have anybody on Christmas Day. They'd be completely on their own. They wouldn't receive any presents, and there would be no special treats for food, and so I used to go and take them stuff and be like, hi, and look, we'll just have a little Christmas together, and I've got some treats and that sort of thing. And
they would have loved that, did they? Coming?
Yeah, it was such a highlight, and I wore a Santa hat,
and I imagine you with your big grin.
So and it was such a wonderful thing to do, but I found it really affected me on Christmas Day.
How so?
Because I'd be having this lovely time with all my family, and in my mind, I'm just thinking about these ones sitting on their own. No fuss, no one contacting them, and just a day in front of telly, and I guess it was just a big contrast between the poverty of some people's lives and the richness of my own, and just how do you reconcile that, I used to find that really hard, Cathy. It was great, but it was really confronting. Yeah.
So how did you work through that? Or
I guess I found it really hard doing the preparations for our Christmas Day with each child getting multiple gifts, and me receiving multiple gifts and thinking that these other people. But I also think it's about expectations. Like a lot of those people would have no expectation of a big, Christmas like what we would know it as. It's hard because I didn't want what I'd experienced to rob me of my own. My experience, so you can see it was a real tension. The feeling was that I'd given some Christmas cheer, to a number of people that if I hadn't, no one would have, So there was that sense of actually making a small difference.
And it would have been a big difference, actually.
The joy on their faces was just beautiful, but I'd often leave with tears in my eyes,
thinking about Christmas, and it can be a tough time for people, either on their own or a loved one isn't around.
Also, there's estranged families too, Cathy.
Yeah,
you know.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
your heart's
Yeah.
aching for
Yeah.
someone to be
Yeah.
there and they're not. What advice would you give
Yeah.
to how to get through a Christmas like that? How do you
I
navigate
think
that?
I think it's preparing yourself, and it is about expectations. But I think sometimes it's good to actually be the person that's giving to someone else. You know, like for some years when we didn't have anybody coming home for Christmas, you know, then that's the time, hey, let's invite someone else who's in the same situation. You know, instead of being totally focused just on yourself, it's like, hey, there's a lot of people who are feeling like me, you know, how can we mix this up a bit, you know? So those years we would look around for people that were on their own and invite them in for Christmas Day, you know? So sometimes the best ways to get out of your own self-pity or sadness is to actually start giving to someone else.
Right,
and realising
yeah.
you are not the only one that's in this situation. So if people are up to that, that's a really good way of trying to turn something around, that you're actually helping someone else in your own situation.
Yeah, it's a great gift to yourself as well, isn't it? When you can kind of step out of yourself.
Yes.
Although it isn't easy, is it?
So Cathy, what about you? How have you coped with people missing at Christmas?
With my children, and it was my sons, they were overseas, so you know, I was just happy they were having great adventures. But I'm always deeply touched when if we say grace, and whoever's saying grace kind of just acknowledges those that aren't there or no longer there, you know, have died.
Yes,
so not just the
yes,
dead, but those that aren't there, and that's like, ooh, it's always a weepy moment.
Yeah,
and then when I was a kid, I lost a brother through an accident, and we used to go every Christmas. We'd go and visit his grave, and as a child, it wasn't you know, you just kind of accept it, and you know, sit around the grave. You know, I'd be playing with the daisies, and my parents would tidy the grave up.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But it was, you knew it was kind of, this was, not serious is not the right word. It felt the right thing to do.
Right, yeah.
Because
so almost
we were
involving him?
Yeah.
In the day?
And then we'd get up and go. There was a slight sense of relief as a child that we could get on with Christmas Day, you know. But as an adult now, it's left me with this, I suppose, place in my heart that even though I lost my brother when he was young, and I was young too, he's still, I always think of him and Christmas, and to have that connection.
Keeps the memory alive, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I would say that I'm thankful that my parents did that. But it wouldn't have been easy for them. So, you know, you can quietly hold someone in your heart, you know, and I find that helps too. Just yum.
Once they've been in overnight, we're ready to go. So it's set really hard. So then we just do a few little decorations. There it is. A little dollop of cream.
And
this is something the kids can do.
I was just going to say, you could get the kids involved with this.
Doesn't have to be perfect.
Have you had your grandkids or children, have you got them involved with baking?
Yeah, to some extent. Like this sort of thing they love. And one year we did make your own parfaits and they all loved that. So I just had all the ingredients out, you know, and the chocolate was going in and the lollies and
and in their mouth.
And a little bit of fruit. And it was like chaos, you know, but it was, at least they picked what they wanted in it, and there weren't the complaints of, I don't like that.
I remember one Christmas, I thought, I had this lovely idea of gather round little children, we're going to make gingerbread men, and within 5 minutes of cutting and the shaping that all disappeared, and I was left with a big pile of dough, and it's like an hour later, man, I'm sick of these gingerbread men. And another one.
Oh gosh, I remember, that brings back memories from me of like, let's decorate the tree together as a family. You know, let's have a lovely time. Let's pick the things out. I had to leave the room for a while, and when I came back in, I found the boys throwing the Christmas decorations over their shoulders and seeing if they could land on the tree. To say the least, I was not impressed. So there we go.
Oh, Alison, that is absolutely beautiful.
Shall we try?
Go,
come on,
yeah,
come on,
okay.
Come on. What are you going to do?
I've got 2 spoons, okay. One of each.
Okay.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Melts in your mouth, eh?
Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's session, and do check out the Star.
Is it time for me to come in?
Oh, look who's here.
Same old.
It's finished. You turn up for the tasting.
Here?
Yep.
Is this what I try?
Oh gosh.
Nice.
Oh, it's my small treat.
As you were saying,
as I was
saying,
saying, I hope you've enjoyed today's session, and do check out the Star Christmas Recipe Cookbook, star.net.nz.